Hi, everyone, and welcome to our wellness webinar. My name is Alana. I'm one of the telephone health coaches, and today I'm here to present on mindfulness and how we can bring more mindfulness through various little techniques and practices into our day. So please bear in mind that you don't have to take away and practice all of the techniques that we're talking about today, but you may find a couple in here that resonate with you and are things that you feel like you'd like to practice and work on. So 2020 in itself has been a huge experience for all of us and has really challenged a lot of things around how we live our lives and what we've been able to do. So many of these things have been out of our control, which has been stressful, confusing, and downright frustrating at times. So we are focusing on mindfulness as part of this webinar as something that we do have control and influence over in a world where many things are out of our control. So if we are aware of our own actions, thoughts, and behaviors, and about being in the present moment as much as possible, we can drastically change the way that we live our lives. So, this is why today we are focusing on topics including setting your intention for the day, rewiring your brain and your habits, eating more mindfully and enjoying your food, and activating your mind and muscles. So there are multiple definitions of mindfulness, and I've included a couple on the slide. But the running theme of each is to be aware or present of ourselves or what is going on around us. So mindfulness can be so many different things and is definitely not just extended periods of meditation as can be commonly thought. So the practices that we are discussing today are small things that you can add to your day, which aren't time consuming and are designed to help you be more in the moment. So, mindfulness can really help you get out of that pattern of flying through your day on autopilot, change the way you react to situations, and make you more aligned with the way that you want to be. So, benefits to mindfulness, there are lots and lots of them out there. I've included quite a few on the slide, but these are about, feeling more present and better in ourselves. These can be benefits that affect those around us by improving our relationship and our communication and our compassion, and can be things in general that just make our lives more enjoyable to live. So, beyond the techniques that we're discussing today, there are a lot more lengthy and detailed mindfulness practices out there, like meditations and books and apps and things you can use. And if you're interested, it's something that you are welcome to seek out. So it is really important to start with understanding how the brain works so that we can understand our actions, behaviors, and thoughts better, and can understand why setting an intention for the day can be such a beneficial thing for being more mindful. So I do not claim to be an expert on the brain, so this is why I'm keeping the following quite simple. So, looking first off at what is an intention. So, an intention is the underlying motivation for everything we say, think, and do. Because so many of our habits are automated, when we act in unintended ways, there is a disconnect between the different areas of our brain. One area which is slow moving and aware, and it provides a lot of input to our thoughts and actions, and the other area of our brain which works quite involuntarily and impulsively. So, on the iceberg there above the water, you see the conscious mind or the slow brain. And this is responsible for our thoughts and actions, which are often new and challenging and require focus and energy to complete, which is why making changes to our habits can sometimes feel really difficult because it does take more time and energy. And this is the area of our brain that we strengthen when we are mindful. So, competing against this is our subconscious or fast brain, which is under the water there. And this is where habits are automatic. So, things like breathing, or also things that often we learn with time and repetition. So, things like putting your seatbelt on when you get in the car and not thinking that you have to do that. Um, So setting an intention helps to strengthen the connection between these different areas of our brain and helps to give us focus. So doing so can really change the way that we take and our actions and go about our day. It can make difficult moments more easier as well too, bearing in mind time and practice is involved. So, this practice is about starting your day more mindfully and connecting those areas of your brain and help to frame your day with a mindful intention to carry with you. So, try this practice first thing in the morning, perhaps before you touch your phone or even have that first cup of tea or coffee. So, start by sitting up in a comfortable chair on the side of your bed. Take 3 deep, long, nourishing breaths to fill your body and your mind with oxygen. Ask yourself, what is your intention for the day? So it might be about how you would like to show up today to have the most impact. It might be about what you would like to strengthen in terms of your personal or professional skills today. Once you ask that question of what your intention is, decide on an intention. So this might be something like, today I will be kind. Today I will be patient with those around me, or it could just be, today I'm gonna go have fun. And making sure that throughout the day you do check in with yourself. So this may be frequently, it may be when you have a random thought at times, but the more opportunity that you do take to engage with yourself and actually say, is my actions aligning with my intention, will be something that helps to make mindfulness more part of your day and your routine. So, the next practice we're having a look at is having a mindful pause to help rewire your brain. So, with so much change around us, we often haven't had a lot of time to stop and focus on ourselves and what we're doing. So, knowing that about 95% of our behaviors are automated, so things that we don't think about doing, like driving home and not kind of remembering how we actually got home today. So, this is our subconscious brain working, wanting us to follow these well worn pathways in our brain. So, these are like highways, they're well worn, they're easy to follow, and we kind of go with the flow without asking a lot of questions. Mindfulness, though, is the opposite. So when we are mindful, we are taking the back roads. We might be taking a push bike instead of a car. Um, but in this space, we are taking control of our thoughts and actions. So, like a muscle, the more that we practice mindfulness and use our slow brain, the stronger that this gets. And these habits that once were slow back roads can be built up into highways as well. So, when we start pausing before we do things, we are acting mindfully. Think of perhaps taking a mindful pause as taking a left turn where you'd usually go right on your way home. It feels uncomfortable. You're definitely aware that this isn't the way that you usually go home. But the more that you take this way home, the more normal and automatic it starts to be. So, learning to pause mindfully, yes, it can take time. And when we feel stressed or anxious or under pressure, we do turn to our automatic or our subconscious habits that we're most familiar with. So, this is definitely just a normal thing that happens. It's only a bump in the road, it's not necessarily always something that is setting you back. So, here are some techniques that you can use to help introduce that mindful pause and engage that conscious brain. So, start by tripping over what it is that you want to do. So, please do this as safely as possible. This might be something like leaving your shoes out if you want to go for a walk, or putting a glass of water on the edge of the kitchen bench so you remember to take a drink as you walk past. Even if you don't necessarily always take out the actions, having the prompt there is something that starts to carve that path and that habit in your brain. If you do use prompts already, things like post-it notes, maybe on your computer monitor or on the mirror, or alarms on your phone, refresh them every so often because we can get used to seeing them and hearing them and swiping them away without thinking. So perhaps update the color of your post at the location, maybe draw a picture or put something funny on there that grabs your attention. And with things like your phone alarms, try changing the time by even a short period or changing the tone of it so that it is more aware and we're more aware of that in our thoughts. So for those people who are up to session 5, you'd be very familiar with if this then that planning. Even if you're not, you may have come across it. So even if your if this then that planning is something like, if the phone rings, then I will take one deep breath before I answer so that I am mindful and present as I talk to the person on the other end. These small techniques and pausing can be very challenging, but can be very, very beneficial at the same time. So next is looking at mindful eating, and this is a very brief look at a couple of small aspects of your relationship with food. And if this is something you want to work on, strongly advise seeking out professional help. It is very easy to get lost in food and life. So often we will eat on the go, we'll eat at our desk, we might find ourselves going way too long between our meals and finding ourselves absolutely ravenous by the next time we get to eat. So we can get out of tune with our food and lose the pleasure that does come with eating, because food is designed as well to be a pleasurable activity, not just something that is about physically nourishing us. So when we are bringing our attention back to our bodies and our brains, we can help to help to satisfy the different kinds of hunger that we have, so physical and emotional. So some little techniques here. So start your meal by taking 8 to 10 deep breaths so that you are very present and very aware of the fact that you are sitting down to eat and enjoy your food. Perhaps do something like actually listening to your physical sensations rather than relying on the clock to eat. So if you have a growly stomach or a foggy head, or you're just plain hangry, regardless of the time, take your opportunity to go and have something to nourish you. Perhaps using something like a hunger scale you can see on the slide here. So this can be a wonderful way to determine how hungry you are, and to sort of help get a little bit more aligned with, how hungry am I, and when do I feel satisfied when I eat. Some other techniques, perhaps start by looking at eating according to your hunger. So this may involve eating more or less than you anticipate. It could involve leaving your lunch in the fridge and going and choosing to have something completely different to consume. So make sure, like I've just mentioned, choosing when you want to eat, where, and how much food that you have. Another technique, about making your meal times quite peaceful. So making sure that maybe you are allocating some time to eat away from other tasks like working or checking your phone. Take the time to eat as slowly as you need to. Chew your food and enjoy the flavors of what is, going on your plate. So this may sometimes mean eating away from other people as well too. So not all the time, but just so you have the opportunity at times to be mindful and present with your food. The last technique I'm going to mention here is something that may be very difficult for those of us that were raised to clean their plate. But it's, if you don't love it, leave it. So take your first few bites very mindfully. If you don't love it, feel free to put it away, toss it away, um, do whatever you need to do. Even if it's about going and finding something else to consume, making sure that, yes, you are addressing your physical and your emotional hunger at the same time. The next area we're looking at is mindful movement. So any type of activity can be a mindfulness practice, from taking a walk to being in the garden to having a dance while you're cooking dinner. So one of the important things that we can do with our movement is to ensure that we are moving with a purpose. So, whether it's to clear our heads, to feel stronger, to have a better night's sleep, making sure that you are using that time as best as possible to make it a mindful practice, as long or as short as it may be. So there are a couple of different little areas that you can look at with setting a routine in your physical activity. So look at setting an intention, so deciding and like I just mentioned, having a purpose to your activity, whether it's about enjoying the breeze in your hair as you walk, enjoying the feel of the water as it flows past you while you swim. Take your time to warm up. So take a couple of minutes to get your body and your brain warmed up and prepared for your activity, whether it's marching on the spot or taking a couple of deep breaths or a stretch. Get into a rhythm with your activity. So do take some time to align your body and breath, and feel free to come back to your breath if you do feel that you lose your focus. But getting into that rhythm and that sort of mindful and purposeful activity. Do take a couple of minutes in there perhaps to challenge yourself. So it might be walking another block a little bit faster than you usually would, carrying your gardening equipment or plants one by one to a new spot, but making sure that you are sort of adding that little challenge element, which can definitely help us feel more alive and invigorated. And like a car, please don't try to slam on the brakes as soon as you stop your activity. Take the time to cool down, to give yourself the chance to, get your breath, to acknowledge what you've done, to congratulate yourself for taking the time to be mindful and active. And then at the end, do take a couple of minutes to rest, to appreciate how you're feeling, what you can sense around you in terms of what you can see and smell and feel. And this can help to make make your physical activity a very mindful activity. So definitely discussed a wide variety of mindfulness techniques. So please, as I said earlier, take and choose what you feel would be most relevant to you. And please be considerate that mindfulness does look very different for everyone, and that everyone has their different mindfulness methods, and that is more than okay. So, if you have any questions or inquiries, feel free to get in touch. And thank you today for taking the time to be mindful with me, and to take that time in the future to be more mindful with yourself.